Hi, I'm Ryan, the CEO of One Page Inventory. In this video, I'm going to be discussing FBA sales velocity. So FBA sales velocity is a column that you'll find in any integrated Amazon marketplace. It's an extremely important aspect of the software to pay attention to because it relates to how much product you're selling in that marketplace. The implications down the line of getting FBA sales velocity right relate to replenishment into that marketplace. And if you have the wrong number of what you're selling, you may dramatically oversend or undersend inventory into the marketplace and leave yourself over replenished, under replenished, and or subsequently order way too much from your manufacturer or too little. So getting the sales velocity right is important. Right out the gate, the settings in OPI are going to be accurate for a certain scenario. And the settings are that we have by default are using recent sales period and last 30 days of sales. A lot of users simply use that, and that's great. But you may have a sales situation with, let's say, Prime Day or holiday that causes you to want to make sure that you're using a time period that relates in a certain velocity or a forecasting setting that relates in a certain velocity that's more accurate for your situation. So let's take a look at this particular product in Amazon USA. I'm seeing a velocity of 35.3. This means that many units are sold per day in the marketplace. It may not look like major differences, and in this particular product, it's not that major. But let's say the last 7 days, if you have a swing of almost 10 units or 9 units, something like that, down the line per day, sales multiplied out on replenishment and ordering, it can become drastic. So you want to make sure that it's accurate. So just to go over some of the settings, if we were to use recent sales period, this is just going to be a straight linear last 30 days or 60 days or 90 days from today. And it's going to take the sales from that time and sum total them up and then divide by the days in that cycle to get a sales per day. So let's say it's on last 30 and I just had Prime Day and I sold 5,000 units. But the last 180 days, I only sold maybe a total of 8,000 or something. I really did well on Prime Day. You're probably not going to want to use the last 30 days because you just had a major spike. You're probably going to want to smooth it out through a longer time period. Or let's say maybe 6 months ago was Christmas and majority of our products sold, and the rest of the year we've had very low volume. You might want to use 180 days to smooth it out because you might see over the last 30, I have a very low volume and I want to smooth it out over a longer period. It just depends on your particular situation, but these are the settings where you can see all the differences. If you do have seasonality involved in your product and you have big spikes, certain time periods, you're going to maybe want to use our seasonal forecasting feature. We do have another video that explains forecasting. This is where you choose to use seasonal forecasting as your velocity calculation. So you would select that, and then it's going to use whatever the results are from the forecasting in the next 2, 3, 6, 10, 12 months as your velocity, and you can choose those here. So let's go back to the recent sales period. A couple settings you want to watch out for are going to be ignore stockout days. Most users choose ignore stockout days. That's by far our most common configuration. That's why it's default when OPI is first integrated with your account. So that's probably generally best practices. Now, quick note, we cannot actually detect previous stockout days. Amazon API doesn't give us that information. We don't know if it was a stockout. We can only see that it was a 0 sales day. So upon integrating your account, we will not know, and we don't try to choose that either for you. We don't want to make any errors in selecting. What we do is from day one of integration on, we can detect if it's a stockout day. So if you see that here in your account on the daily sales and you don't see a stockout, but you think it was and it was in the past prior to integrating, it's because we didn't know. But from integrating on, we do. So if you don't want to include stockout days, you have that setting. And then FBM, use FBM. So what this is going to do is it's going to count your FBA sales, and it's also going to add in your FBM. So let's say if you use FBM as backup sales when your listings go out of stock, and you do want to include that in your calculation for velocity, you can go ahead and do that right here. A reason you may not want to is that let's say when a listing, an ASIN flips to FBM, it might be much lower sales because FBM listings often sell less than FBA. So you might not want that included because it unrealistically lowers your velocity. So let's just flip this a little bit. Let's say, just to show an example, on this particular skew, or let's look at this one right here. We've got a quantity to replenish of 231, a velocity of 3.5 per day. Let's just change it to the last 7 to make it 2.3. We'll go ahead and apply that to this product. And let's take a look here. So it changed that from 230 down to 144. So it's quite a big difference from this product. Now let's go back and change it back to, let's say, seasonal forecasting of 3.7. Let's apply that. And we're up to 250. So the sales on this product are, relatively small. It's not a major difference between 2 point something and 3 point something, but you'll see that the differences in replenishment can become much larger, and then subsequently in the quantity to order from manufacturers. So this is a very important thing to get right within the software. Out of the box, you can use the settings. They're definitely valid settings, but we just don't know your exact sales situation. So you're going to want to go in when looking at replenishment and make sure your sales velocity is correct. Okay, watch our other videos for tips and tricks, and thanks for watching.